So his friend gives him a new mission: pack boxes. And this is where the hellish training begins. He couldn't refuse because his only other option was a fate even worse. He tries to vent his frustrations, but his new coworker is a little dense. But this is no ordinary warehouse bot. It suddenly flags an unregistered product. And just like that, the robot confiscates the package, leaving our guy completely stunned. Hold on, was he just testing the system? Because now he's the one giving the orders. He's not just a worker here, he's running the whole show, clipboard and all. Yet, even with all this control, something feels deeply, unnervingly wrong. He looks around and realizes the chilling truth. This entire massive facility is run by machines. And in that moment, it hits him. This isn't a job, he's walked straight into a trap. So how did our guy get roped into this mess? It all started 2 months ago, with the biggest mistake of his life: feeling optimistic. That feeling of freedom lasted for about 5 seconds, until his phone rang and shattered his entire world. It's his parents, casually dropping the bomb that their congratulatory gift is kicking him out of the family home. Now forced to live alone, he starts the job hunt, completely unaware that his savings are about to become worthless. His big plan wasn't to get rich, but to land a cute cafe job and a storybook romance. Oh, you sweet summer child. Yeah, about that. Reality is about to hit him like a ton of bricks. Forget romance. He doesn't even get to touch the cash register before getting hit with the classic, "We need someone with experience." Fast forward 1 month and he's completely demoralized, the perfect state for a predator to strike. And right on cue, the bait appears. A text from his friend about an easy delivery job. Which brings us back to now, trapped in this cold, lifeless factory, realizing that easy job was the biggest lie of all. He's trapped in a robot-run nightmare, and his biggest complaint? The job is too easy. Just when he's lost in his thoughts, a voice cuts through the silence, and it's not a robot. Meet manager Shin, the first human he's seen, and he's already radiating, "I'm your new problem" energy. So he puts on his best happy employee face and agrees to a little treasure hunt for some missing tuna. And his first thought? The cold, unfeeling robot has more personality than his actual human boss. He heads into the cavernous warehouse alone, on a mission that feels way too simple for a place this sinister. Endless rows of identical boxes making you wonder what's really inside them. He spots the missing cargo, tucked away where no one would casually look. But as he grabs it, a crucial detail clicks. In a perfectly automated system, why is this box in the wrong place? And that's when he feels it. A sudden chill, a sense that he's not just grabbing a box, he's triggering the real trap. The second he grabs the box, the trap is sprung, sealing him inside. He sprints to the door, but the handle won't budge. He's officially locked in. His first reaction isn't fear, but pure annoyance. This has to be some kind of stupid prank. He tries calling the one person who can get him out, but of course, Manager Shin's line goes straight to voicemail. He almost calls for real help, but then a dangerously naive thought crosses his mind. He actually talks himself out of it, worried about making things awkward with his new boss. So instead, he texts his sister a joke about being trapped, and she thinks it's hilarious. But her next message wipes the smile right off his face. A building just collapsed near her house. A second later, his phone rings. It's her, and the panic is about to become very, very real. He answers the call, completely unaware that his personal nightmare is just a small piece of a much larger disaster. But his sister's panicked voice is cut off by static, leaving him completely baffled. Then the entire world starts to shake, throwing him to the ground as the call disconnects. That's when the alarms blare to life, bathing the entire warehouse in a sinister red glow. He finally realizes this isn't a building collapse. This is something much, much bigger. An automated voice orders a full evacuation, a cruel joke for the one person who can't leave. And in that moment, he understands. Manager Shin didn't just trap him, he left him for dead. He hammers on the door, his voice hoarse, screaming that someone is still inside. With his pride shattered, he fumbles for his phone to dial emergency services. But of course, in a steel-reinforced trap, there's no signal and the battery is about to die. With all hope gone, a horrifying question emerges. What if this isn't just a disaster? What if it's a war? He's pounding on the door to get out, but now something is pounding to get in. A single chilling thought cuts through the panic. He just alerted the monster to his exact location. The rules of the game just changed. Stay silent or you don't stay alive. He doesn't need to see it to know the horrifying truth. Whatever's out there isn't human. Cornered, terrified, and with a monster scratching at the door, he's officially run out of ideas. With no other choice, he retreats into the darkness, hoping to become just another shadow. 3 days later, he's still alive, surviving on the very canned tuna that led him into this trap. And then comes the twisted realization. This prison, meant to be his tomb, actually saved his life. But even this sanctuary has an expiration date, and with his phone about to die, he prepares his final message. He accepts his end with one last hope for his family, completely oblivious that his ordeal is far from over. The alarms finally die, but the silence is somehow even more terrifying. His only thought is for his family, completely unaware that the world has fundamentally changed. And just when he's at his lowest, a message from the universe itself pops into view. He's not sure if he's being saved or if he's finally snapped from the isolation. The system grants him a new power, a personal subspace, a pocket dimension just for him. But his first reaction isn't hope. It's the chilling certainty that he's completely lost his mind. So he decides to play along with his hallucination and makes the most insane request possible. Except the system doesn't get the joke and asks if he's serious about storing the entire building. He says yes, and reality itself shatters as an unimaginable power surges through him. He's thrown across the ground, learning a critical lesson. In this new world, you don't joke with the system. The backlash hits him like a freight train, and when he opens his eyes, the entire building is just gone. He stumbles to his feet, completely disoriented, with only one horrified question. Where am I? He finally sees the world outside his prison, and it's a graveyard of twisted metal and shattered concrete. And lying in the rubble is the face of his former boss, a grim reminder that no one was safe. But he has no time to process it, because the system confirms the impossible. It's actually storing the entire warehouse. Just as he's reeling, the system hits him with another bombshell. It's found a compatible operating system. This isn't some simple software patch. The update feels like it's rewriting his very brain. As the power settles, he looks down and realizes his own shadow is moving with a dark, unnatural energy. But a much larger shadow suddenly falls over him, cast by the very monster he'd been hiding from. He desperately tries to calm his racing heart, completely unaware of the hulking beast standing inches away. He recognizes the roar from 3 days ago and makes a fatal miscalculation, assuming it's just passing by. But his moment of calm is shattered by a desperate scream. Someone else just became the monster's new target. And there it is, a face straight out of a nightmare, with eyes that promise nothing but pain. The first guy is gone in a flash, and now our hero is the main course, screaming as the beast charges. He doesn't even have time to react before a brutal blow sends him flying. He scrambles to his feet, realizing this isn't just a monster, it's an orc, and for some reason, it's locked onto him. He's running on pure adrenaline, but his legs are giving out. He's about to become another casualty. Then, just as he's about to be caught, a system message pops up, offering an impossible escape. The monster lunges, its jaws inches from his face, a split second from the end, and the system asks the most important question of his life. Does he want to live? With death staring him down, he screams the one word that changes everything. Yes. But the orc doesn't care about his answer and swings for the final blow. For a horrifying second, he thinks he was too slow, that this is the end. And then the system kicks in, wrapping him in a shield of pure, impossible energy. He stands his ground, no longer prey, but something else entirely. The monster is frozen just outside an invisible wall, completely baffled by its new chew toy. A tiny drone zips in to confirm the obvious. Yeah, he's got a personal force field now. And not just a force field, the system declares him the absolute master of this new dimension. The guy who was just a warehouse worker is now the god of his own pocket universe. Just like that, he's not on Earth anymore. He's in the subspace, and he makes the rules. He can't believe it. He's untouchable, and the monster is just a window display. Welcome to his private universe, where the only thing on the floor is a portal back to hell. Even his own drone can't compute the fact that he just pocketed an entire 5-story building. And for surviving the apocalypse and stealing a building, the system gives him a shiny rock. He has no idea what a monostone is, but it's the first good thing that's happened to him in days. But his moment of peace is shattered by the orc, who's not a fan of the new do not touch policy. That's the face of a monster realizing its dinner reservation just got canceled indefinitely. He has to ask just to be sure, and the system confirms it. This VIP lounge is monster-proof. His new power comes with a user manual detailing every square inch of the fortress he now owns. But one stat catches his eye, and a dangerous, brilliant idea starts to form. He's barely processed his new powers when the system hits him with a countdown, 2 minutes until the lights go out. And just like that, the system offers a solution. That little rock he just earned is the battery for his entire 5-story fortress. He's holding 24 hours of life for a massive building in the palm of his hand, and he can't even believe it. Turns out when you steal a building with a magic system, it helpfully rewires the whole thing to run on mana. But it's not just the building that's changed. He's realizing his little drone assistant got a major intelligence upgrade. But while he's busy thinking, the countdown hits 0. The world goes dark and the system confirms his mistake. He was too slow. But it's not just the lights. The drone warns him that without power, the most valuable loot in the building is about to spoil. We're not talking canned tuna anymore. We're talking an entire stockpile of fresh meat, vegetables, and prepared meals. And in a world of monsters and ruin, he realizes he's not just holding a warehouse, he's holding the key to survival for everyone. He's got 24 hours of power, but a lifetime of problems if he can't find more fuel. And the system drops the bombshell. To get more power, he has to hunt monsters. The guy who was hiding from monsters just got told he needs to become a monster hunter. He looks at the portal, and a terrifying, brilliant plan begins to form. That orc isn't just a monster anymore, it's a walking, snarling battery pack. So he powers up the facility, officially starting the clock on his first hunt. But he's not going out there empty-handed. It's time to go shopping in his personal apocalypse mart. Forget canned tuna, he's searching for anything sharp, pointy, and monster-stopping. He hits the jackpot, a full arsenal of knives and axes because this is no longer a rescue mission. But with a limited supply, he knows every throw has to count, or he's the one who'll end up on the menu. He's got weapons, but one look at that monster raises a very important question. Are they even sharp enough? He realizes the orc is basically a sitting duck, frozen outside his portal until he makes a move. So he comes up with a new plan. He doesn't have to win, he just has to wound it. He gives himself a pep talk, channeling his inner action hero for the most important throw of his life. He lets the knife fly, and for a split second, it looks like he actually landed a hit. And it bounces right off, doing nothing but making the monster even angrier. His perfect plan just shattered against a wall of pure, impenetrable muscle. The daggers are useless, leaving him with a box of fancy toothpicks and a very big problem. He realizes there's only one weapon left that might actually leave a dent, the heavy axe. So he asks his drone for an inventory check, because this is no longer a one-shot deal. It's a war of attrition. He scraps the knife plan and decides if you can't cut it, you just have to smash it. The drone confirms he has 15 axes, but he's already worried about running out. But then the math doesn't add up, he already took one, so why is the stock count the same? He tests his theory, and suddenly the floor is covered in perfect copies of the same axe. He's not just holding a weapon, he's holding a glitch in reality itself. His drone drops a bombshell. In this dimension, physical objects are just data, which means he can break them, lose them, or throw them, but he can never ever run out. The truth finally sinks in. He's not in a warehouse, he's in an infinite item glitch. And his little drone buddy confirms it, changing the entire game. So if he has an infinite supply of weapons, who says he has to fight fair? With an infinite supply of axes, he realizes he doesn't need a perfect shot. He just needs to make it rain. But there's just one problem. He's a warehouse worker, not a professional axe thrower, and his arm is about to give out. And that's when the drone reveals the ultimate cheat code. He can use the warehouse's shipping system to teleport weapons. The command is so simple, it's terrifying. Just think of the axe and say ship. He whispers the word, and an axe materializes at point-blank range, delivering a devastating blow. He's left completely speechless as the drone system automatically preps the next axe for delivery. He's blown away by the speed, and the drone confirms it. He's basically firing axe missiles at highway speeds. And that's when it clicks. Shipping speed isn't about delivery times, it's about projectile velocity. But the system isn't done blowing his mind. It tells him he can make them go even faster. And the key to unlocking that power? The very same mana stone he just earned for surviving. And just like that, the monster isn't a threat anymore, it's a battery. The system introduces a new currency for this broken world, packs, and he's about to get paid. With his first victory under his belt, it's time for a serious wardrobe upgrade. He ditches the sneakers for a pair of military-grade combat boots because he's done running, and some tactical pants to match because this apocalypse has a dress code. He's not the same guy who was hiding in the dark, he's a survivor preparing for war. But he's not just gearing up for a fight, he's planning a city-wide operation. With a map of Seoul laid out, he's about to draw his new battle lines. First, he marks his current location, the Gwangjin district, ground zero of his new life. And then he circles his target, the Gangnam district, because his next mission is personal. Then he circles the most important location on the map, his family's home. He's not just planning a trip, he's mapping out a rescue mission across a fallen city. And with a single, desperate thought for his family, the race against time officially begins. Walking is for amateurs because he's got something way better stashed in his infinite warehouse. Forget supercars. In the apocalypse, a top-of-the-line electric bike is the ultimate getaway vehicle. With a flip of a switch, he sends a silent promise across the ruins. I'm coming for you. And just like that, the former warehouse worker rides out to save the world, one ruined street at a time. 30 minutes on the road and he's already racked up a dozen monster takedowns. But this isn't just a rampage, it's a crash course in apocalypse survival, and he's learning fast. Lesson 1, the monsters never ever stop coming. Lesson 2, it's time to figure out exactly what these new powers can do. He's not just teleporting axes anymore, he's teleporting himself out of harm's way. And when he can't dodge, his personal force field turns monster fists into a minor inconvenience. He was so busy surviving, he never stopped to think about how broken his new power actually is. Yeah. Overpowered is one word for turning an infinite axe supply into a high-speed blender. But he's not the only one out here fighting, and someone else's attack just bounced right off. All that did was get its attention, and now it's looking for the source of the noise. He tries to take it out with a new skill, but his timing is just a little off. Turns out his new trump card has a 30-second cooldown, but that's a problem money, or mana stones, can solve. But just as he's planning his next move, he realizes the shipping ability has a hidden function he never knew about. He thought he missed, but the system wasn't aiming for the monster, it was aiming for the weapon it was holding. Because shipping is a two-way street, and product retrieval means he can summon back anything he's ever thrown. And if a monster happens to still be holding his axe, well, that's just a bonus. But then he realizes the system isn't even trying to retrieve the axe. It's an auto-loot function, ripping the mana stone right out of the monster's corpse from a distance. The only catch? He has to be the one to land the final blow to claim the prize. And just like that, the system confirms it. Every monster he defeats automatically becomes his personal piggy bank. With his new powers figured out, he's back on the clock. Get to his family, get them into the subspace, and pray he's not too late. But as he steps back into the ruined city, he's about to learn his second, much harsher lesson of the apocalypse. Yeah, orcs were just the tutorial level. Now he's got dragons. And just when you think you've seen it all, the sky fills with the screech of whatever fresh hell this is. But our guy isn't scared, he's already sizing up his next mana battery. Then he realizes the horrifying truth. That's not the sound of one monster, it's a whole swarm. And a human scream cuts through the chaos, reminding him he's not the only one out here. He spots the source, a terrified survivor running for his life. And his heart sinks. He recognizes the man, just in time to watch him become the target. The creature dives, and suddenly this isn't a hunt anymore, it's a rescue mission he's about to fail. In a flash of movement, the monster strikes its prey with brutal precision. The creature flies off, leaving another victim in the dust of the ruined city. He sprints towards the fallen man, but he's already afraid of what he's going to find. He screams for the man to get up, but it's already too late. The monster has its prize. And just as he braces for impact, the creature's attack freezes inches from his face. It's staring him down, practically drooling, but for some reason it's not making a move. He's completely baffled. In a world where everything wants him gone, why is this one monster hesitating? Then it turns away, its eyes locking back onto the fallen man, and the horrifying truth starts to click. The monster isn't hesitating, it's just ignoring him, deciding he's not worth the effort. He's got a knife and a death wish, but how do you get the attention of a beast that's already decided you're not a threat? But before he can make a move, a blinding light cuts through the darkness and it's coming from right behind him. A strange sound rips through the air, and suddenly, the monster isn't the only thing they need to worry about. Something whips past with impossible speed, and our hero realizes a third player has just entered the game. A high-tech axe finds its mark, taking the monster down in one clean, decisive shot. But the guy holding the weapon isn't our hero. It's a complete stranger, and he can't believe what just happened. He breathes a sigh of relief, thinking he just pulled off the luckiest shot of his life. And that's when our guy rolls up on his glowing superbike, looking like a hero arriving in the nick of time. He asks if they're okay, completely unaware that he just stole another man's thunder. The survivors are stunned, trying to figure out if they were just saved by a soldier on a bicycle. And just like that, the legend is born. The bike-riding, axe-throwing hero of the apocalypse. They immediately peg him as a soldier, because who else could pull off a move that insane? They're practically bowing to him, and he just awkwardly accepts the credit because what else is he gonna do? But then he drops the bomb. He's not a soldier, he's just a delivery guy for a company called PAX FC. They're still trying to process how a delivery guy on a bike just took out a flying monster. Turns out he's not the only one who got a system update. This guy's a driver, and our hero is all ears. But their relief is cut short by a question that hangs heavy in the dead city. Is anyone else left? The answer starts with a yes, but his face tells a much darker story. This wasn't just a monster attack, it was a slaughter, and only a handful of people made it out alive. And then they mention the weirdest thing. A whole building just vanished, and our guy tries his best to look innocent. So they offer him a spot in their underground bunker, promising safety from the monsters. They're offering snacks, but he's only interested in one thing they said: vehicles. Forget food and shelter, he's on a mission and he needs a ride, now. So he agrees to go, playing the part of the grateful hero while knowing this is a gamble that could get him killed. He plays along, but as they walk away, he makes sure to collect his prize. With a flash of light only he can see, the monster's mana stone zips right into his inventory. He's not worried because he's got an ace up his sleeve these guys know nothing about, his own private dimension. He tries to convince himself it's safe, completely ignoring the fact that their bunker has dead monsters in the driveway. And when they get inside, he sees the survivors aren't just hiding, they're fighting back hard. But then he locks eyes with their leader, and his internal danger sense goes into overdrive. Forget the monsters outside. The most dangerous thing in this room might be this guy. He quickly realizes this isn't a community of survivors. It's a fortress, and he just met the king. The leader brushes it off, acting like a monster in their parking garage is just another Tuesday. But then he tells a story about how they ambushed the orc, and our guy knows that's a complete and total lie. He's claiming the place isn't safe anymore, but our guy knows the only real danger here is the man telling the lies. And just like that, the cracks in the fortress start to show as one of his own men calls him out on his broken promises. The leader dodges the question, putting all the attention right back on the new guy in the room, and his new fan club is more than happy to sing his praises, calling him the hero who took down a wyvern. You can practically see the gears turning in the leader's head as he realizes this delivery boy is way more powerful than he looks. The legend grows with every retelling, painting him as a warrior so strong his own weapon shatters on impact. He's suddenly swarmed by grateful survivors, and our guy has no idea how to handle being the center of attention. They're treating him like a messiah, but all he wants is the keys to a car and a clear road to his family. He tries to play the humble hero, but he's a terrible actor, and they're buying every second of it. And of course, the hero worship immediately turns into an awkward matchmaking session, because even in the apocalypse, some things never change. The leader tries to play the friendly boss, but our guy knows a predator when he sees one. Meet Lee Jin-mok, the man in charge, and his smile doesn't reach his eyes. He thanks our hero with a grip that's a little too friendly, a little too firm. They offer him food and shelter, bragging about their endless supplies from a logistics center that no longer exists. He keeps mentioning the logistics center, completely unaware he's talking to the guy who stole it. But one of his men can't keep the secret any longer, and he's about to blow the whole story wide open. And there it is. The news that their entire food supply, their fortress, has vanished into thin air. The leader is in shock, learning the hard way that his men have been lying to him. The entire group descends into chaos, unable to believe a whole building could just disappear. But the leader just shrugs it off, saying in this new world, nothing is impossible. A little too calm for a man who just lost everything. With their food supply gone, all eyes turn to the leader, and our guy just tries to blend into the background. But the leader isn't panicking. He's rallying the troops for a suicide mission through a blocked tunnel. And just like that, the group is fired up, ready to charge headfirst into whatever's waiting for them. The leader finally lets him in on the plan. They're not just surviving, they're trying to escape the city entirely. They've got cars, but there's just one tiny problem. Every single road is a dead end. And their only way out is a tunnel that's become a 5-star resort for a whole flock of wyverns. So that's the plan. Dig through a monster-infested tunnel or starve to death in a concrete tomb. The leader tries to give him an out, telling him he can just leave on his bike, a polite way of saying get lost. But our hero isn't going anywhere, and he casually drops that a flock of wyverns is just a minor inconvenience for him. He plays the humble hero, but what he's really saying is, you need me and we both know it. He's playing the hero, but inside he knows he's holding all the cards and he's not about to show his hand. While he was hiding in his magic warehouse, these people were fighting for their lives, and that changes everything. He realizes they're just as paranoid as he is because in this new world, trust gets you killed. So he volunteers for a solo scouting mission, telling them he needs to go alone to clear the path. But his real plan is to cash in his monster loot and turn his 30-second cooldown into a 5-second spam button. And just when he thought he was overpowered, the system drops a new skill tree: precise, simultaneous, and automatic axe delivery. The only catch? These god-tier upgrades cost mana stones, and he's suddenly very interested in his bank account. The plan is simple. Tell them he's scouting, secretly farm the wyverns for parts, and come back with a major power-up. But just as he's about to head out, the guy he saved insists on giving him a ride. The guy won't take no for an answer, arguing that he can't let the hero who saved him go into a death trap alone. And just like that, he's not just a hero. He's their last hope, and the pressure is officially on. But then the driver drops a bombshell. He can't even see the system anymore, making our guy's powers even more of a mystery. So our hero gives him the keys, completely unfazed by the fact that this guy has no idea what he's doing. And then he immediately regrets that decision. Because his new chauffeur isn't driving the bike, he's surfing it like a lunatic. His brilliant excuse? He's too short to see over the cars, so this is just tactical driving. The joyride comes to a screeching halt when our hero spots something that makes his blood run cold. The driver panics about a wyvern, but our hero is staring into empty space, completely baffled. He's screaming that there's nothing there, but his new friend is frozen in pure terror. Yeah, about that. Turns out the monster was a lot closer than he thought. He screams at his new driver to just keep going, because looking back means getting eaten. But it's hard to ignore a land shark the size of a bus trying to take a bite out of your ride. They barely stay ahead, with the driver now pointing out their escape route like a madman. But our hero has a plan, telling him not to look back while secretly powering up his next move. They spot the tunnel, and for a second, it looks like this insane plan might actually work. But the bike screeches to a halt, because in the apocalypse, good news is always a trap. The high-speed chase is over, and an eerie silence falls over the road to the tunnel. His driver is confused, but our hero has already realized they didn't stop by choice. Yeah, they didn't just find the tunnel, they found the entire wyvern welcoming committee. And just like that, they've gone from the frying pan into a nest of very hungry dragons. The driver gives up, convinced they're about to become a buffet for a flock of wyverns. He knows they're too slow to run and too weak to fight. This is a dead end. And just as his new friend completely loses hope, our hero decides it's time to stop playing nice. He pulls up his system menu, ready to show his new partner what a delivery boy can really do. He's about to cash in his entire monster hunting savings for one hell of a party trick. The driver is completely baffled, watching him play with a magic screen while they're about to be eaten. But the wyverns aren't waiting for an explanation and lunge in for the final strike. The swarm descends, a whirlwind of teeth and claws ready to tear them apart. His partner screams, but our hero just closes his eyes, a picture of perfect calm. And with a single word, he unleashes the full, terrifying power of his infinite arsenal. He shields his new friend from the chaos, not with a weapon, but with a promise that the nightmare is over. The driver opens his eyes, not to his end, but to a world that suddenly makes no sense at all. Because our hero didn't just bring a weapon to a monster fight, he brought his entire 5-story monster-proof fortress. And his drone reminds him that even a god-tier power has a level cap, and he's just getting started. He just turned a wyvern nest into his own private front porch, and the view is spectacular. While his friend is having a panic attack, our guy is busy collecting the loot from the monsters he just wiped out. He lays down the new rule of the apocalypse: stick with him or you're on your own. And that's when the driver finally connects the dots between the hero and the mysteriously vanished building. But their moment of safety is shattered by a new threat, because the minions were just the appetizer. And now it's time for the main course, a boss monster that makes the others look like house pets. The boss monster screams, but it's not a war cry. It's the sound of our hero hitting the jackpot. But its friend is not impressed, and it's looking for a little payback. The monster charges, ready to finish them off, completely unaware it's about to run into a 5-story brick wall. His personal force field holds strong, turning the monster's bite into a pathetic headbutt. He's not just blocking the attack, he's sending a message that the food chain has officially been rearranged. But while he's busy with one, another one swoops in, aiming for the weakest link. The monster dives, ready for an easy meal, because it thinks it's found the one person who can't fight back. And for a split second, it looks like his new friend is about to be taken out of the picture. But our hero isn't letting his chauffeur get eaten, he's just recalling him to the safety of the warehouse. The monster is left completely stunned, watching its dinner get teleported away by a magic portal. The monster learns a hard lesson: don't headbutt the personal force field. And his new partner can only stare, his entire concept of reality completely shattered. He finally gets it, this isn't just an ability, it's a cheat code for the apocalypse. He doesn't understand how it works, but he knows he's looking at the most powerful man on Earth. Because for our hero, a flock of wyverns isn't a threat, it's just target practice. Suddenly, that monster-infested tunnel doesn't seem like a death trap anymore, it's just a speed bump. While they were fighting for every inch, our guy was just waiting for his powers to load. For everyone else, a vehicle is a lifeline. For him, it's just a faster way to get to the next level. And that's when the awe turns to envy, because they both have families they're desperate to save. But the driver can't help but wonder, just how far is this guy willing to go? The boss monster takes one look at our hero's new setup and decides it's not getting paid enough for this. His new friend realizes the wyvern isn't scared of the building. It's scared of the man who owns it. And just when he's complaining about being broke, the boss monster drops a mana stone the size of a car battery. He asks what the shiny rock is, and our hero has to explain the basic currency of this new broken world. And just like that, a fire is lit. This guy just found out that power isn't just given, it's earned. And that's when he realizes not all system users are created equal. Some guys have to get their hands dirty to get paid. The driver is still geeking out, realizing our hero's delivery service is actually a high-speed artillery system. But our hero plays it cool, admitting he was just planning a quiet solo run before things got loud. And the driver is hit with a wave of guilt, realizing he just blew our hero's secret mission wide open. He tries to apologize, but our hero just shrugs it off, because without a guide, he'd still be lost on level 1. He calls a temporary truce, but he knows that boss monster is just waiting for round 2. The driver asks where he's headed, and our hero lays it all out, a cross-country trip to save his family. But the mention of Gangnam makes the driver's blood run cold, because that's not just a district, it's a death trap. Turns out their paths just might cross, and the driver sees a golden opportunity he can't pass up. He asks for a ride-along, but what he's really asking for is a god-tier bodyguard to get him home. Our guy is completely blindsided. He just wanted a car, not a sidekick. The driver lays his cards on the table. He's the getaway driver, not the muscle, and he knows he won't survive alone. So he proposes the ultimate apocalypse partnership. You kill the monsters, and I'll make sure we outrun them. He even sweetens the deal with food, because he knows he's asking a god to be his personal chauffeur. And our hero realizes this isn't a burden, it's an asset. He realizes having a partner is the perfect cover story to keep his god-tier powers under wraps. Because if these guys find out what he can really do, they won't ask for his help. They'll demand it. But he decides to trust the driver, because in a world this broken, a little faith goes a long way. He agrees to the team up, but with one condition that changes the entire plan. He tells them he's clearing the tunnel solo because he doesn't need backup. He needs plausible deniability. And his new partner is more than happy to play the part of his personal publicist. He's not just agreeing, he's becoming the #1 fan of a hero he just met. And just like that, he goes from terrified survivor to the hype man for our hero's one-man army. He tells the group to just sit back and relax, because their new hero is about to perform a miracle. And our hero can only stare, realizing his new partner just told everyone his biggest secret. The survivors are not impressed, asking if they're really supposed to just wait while one guy solos a monster-infested death trap. His new partner screams, "Yes!" while our hero realizes his hype man just wrote a check his powers have to cash. But the leader isn't buying it, realizing this over-the-top story makes their new hero sound less like a savior and more like a con artist. So our guy doubles down, promising to clear the entire tunnel by morning, a bluff so big it might just get him killed. He knows they don't believe him, but with their food gone, he's their only shot and he's about to play that card for all it's worth. And just as he's planning his next move, the leader corners him for a little one-on-one chat. The leader plays it cool, saying he won't ask questions and trusts our hero's judgment. A little too trusting for a man this dangerous. But then comes the but, a promise of non-interference that feels more like a warning than an offer of help. And they present him with a gift, a box of their last remaining supplies. It's a test disguised as a thank you, a way to see if their new hero is a selfless savior or just another survivor looking out for number one. The leader lays it on thick, turning a thank you into an unbreakable contract. And just like that, the entire group bows, putting the weight of their survival squarely on his shoulders. He tries to refuse, but being a hero is a job he never applied for and can't quit. He tries to give back their last rations, but the leader isn't taking no for an answer. And then he drops the ultimate guilt trip. You think you're the only one with a family to save? The words hit him like a physical blow, reminding him of the one thing he's fighting for. Because every monster he kills, every risk he takes, is for the family he's praying is still alive. But with the tension at its peak, the survivors decide it's time to bring out their secret weapon. And their ultimate trump card for the end of the world is a couple of cold ones. This isn't a party, it's a final toast to the families they might never see again. They're toasting to him, the hero who's about to walk into a death trap for people he just met. He tells them not to worry because his solo mission is officially underway. But the leader's face says it all. He's not sure if he just sent a hero to his death or a liar to his escape. With one push of the pedal, he commits to a promise he might not be able to keep. One man, one bike against a monster-infested tunnel with the hopes of an entire shelter on his back. He makes a promise to return, but in this world, that's a check that's hard to cash. He rides into the darkness, leaving the last bit of daylight and his last chance to turn back behind him. And just inside, the welcoming committee is already waiting for their guest of honor. Yeah, this isn't a flock, it's an entire city of wyverns, and he just rode up to the front gate. But he's not scared, he's not panicking. He's calculating, because he's not looking at a death trap, he's looking at a monostone gold mine. But as he faces a legion of monsters, his mind flashes back to a different kind of battle. A time when his biggest problem wasn't a dragon, but his own sister. And his dad trying to play referee in a war that never, ever ended. His dad calls it sibling bonding, but it looks more like a cage match. But his dad sees something he can't, a connection he always wished he had. And he drops a piece of wisdom that's about to become our hero's entire reason for living. He's about to reveal the secret to everything. But the real boss of the house has a different lesson in mind. Dinner duty. And just like that, the sibling war is over, replaced by a much more universal fear. An angry mom with a ladle. And in the dark of the tunnel, that one word echoes in his mind, turning his suicide mission into a sacred promise. He's not just fighting for survival, he's fighting for them. But back at the bunker, the leader is having a complete meltdown, haunted by a family of his own. The fortress is falling apart from the inside, and it's not monsters doing the damage. Their tough-as-nails leader is reduced to a crying mess, and his men can only watch. And just like that, the party's over, leaving a trail of broken promises and passed-out survivors. But his new partner wakes up with a bad feeling, and it's not just the hangover. He looks around the garage and realizes their one-man army has gone missing. The others say he just went for fresh air, completely oblivious to the suicide mission he just accepted. But his new hype man isn't buying it, and he runs out into the darkness, terrified he's too late. He finds our hero ready to go and realizes the promise to clear the tunnel wasn't a bluff, it was a countdown. He can't sleep, but his new partner is about to find out he's been pulling an all-nighter for a very different reason. He tries to play it cool, but he just caught our hero in the middle of a secret operation. Because our hero wasn't just preparing for his solo mission, he was preparing to save everyone. His partner is speechless, but our guy acts like stalking an entire convoy is just another Tuesday. And when he says it's the last vehicle, his partner's brain just about short-circuits. Yeah, he didn't just bring snacks, he brought enough supplies to restart civilization with a fleet of 15 fully loaded trucks. He asks him to keep it quiet, but his new friend is starting to realize he's teamed up with a living, breathing cheat code. The question hangs in the air. Is he a hero, a god, or something else entirely? Meanwhile, in the tunnel, the welcoming committee learns a very hard lesson about getting in his way. He didn't come to clear a path. He came to turn their nest into a kill zone. He's turned his personal force field into a monster blender, and business is booming. The wyverns can scream all they want, but they can't even scratch the paint on his new mobile fortress. But clearing a tunnel is one thing. He's got a much bigger problem on his mind. And the system gives him the answer. His subspace is a one-man show, unless he's willing to pay the upgrade fee. The price tag for saving everyone? 100 mana stones, and he's not even halfway there. He does the math and realizes this entire tunnel doesn't have enough monsters to pay for the upgrade. The wyverns are already starting to run, and his gold mine is officially drying up. His family's safety is on the line, but just as he's about to run out of targets, the next wave of mana batteries decides to fly right to his front door. But this one's different. It's not attacking, it's watching, and it just figured out he's the one in charge. The boss wyvern isn't attacking, it's learning, and it just identified the apex predator in the room. But our guy just scoffs because to him, a dragon is just a bigger mana stone with wings. Meanwhile, back at the shelter, the survivors are placing all their bets on a man they barely know. They know helping is a death sentence, so their only move is to wait and pray their new hero isn't a liar. And just as their hope starts to fade, a shout cuts through the tension. Their savior is returning. He rides out of the tunnel alone, a one-man army who just conquered a death trap. And the proof of his victory is written all over him, a silent testament to the war he just won. His new partner can only stare, realizing the man he teamed up with isn't a hero. He's a force of nature. He emerges into the dawn, not as a survivor, but as the man who just rewrote the rules of the apocalypse. And the crowd goes wild, cheering for the delivery boy who just performed a miracle. The leader gives a surprisingly humble speech, finally sending his people on their way. And for the first time, they look at him not with fear, but with genuine respect. But our hero can't let them leave empty-handed, dropping a casual hint about a parting gift he left in the trucks. They have no idea he just turned their getaway vehicles into fully stocked mobile armories. And with that, the race for home officially begins for everyone. The convoy rolls out, a fleet of survivors set loose upon a broken world, all thanks to one man. He didn't just clear a tunnel, he gave every single one of them a fighting chance. They part ways, each survivor now a story waiting to be told, a family waiting to be found. And just like that, the fortress is empty, its people scattered to the winds on a road paved by a hero. But while everyone else celebrates their freedom, our guy is stuck on one thing, the boss monster that was smart enough to run. He's not just worried about the one that got away, he's realizing it was the leader of the pack. And he starts to wonder if these monsters have a hierarchy, because that changes the entire game. But their road trip is cut short by a sound that tells them they're not alone out here. The convoy grinds to a halt, finding their path blocked by the aftermath of a battle someone else lost. And they get a grim reminder that in this new world, even soldiers with guns aren't safe. But our hero knows there's no turning back, only forward, through whatever hell is waiting for them. His partner points out the obvious. The roads are a mess, and our hero's solo journey to his family just got a lot more complicated. Because seeing fallen soldiers means one thing. Whatever did this is way more powerful than they imagined. And right on cue, the monster responsible shows up to claim its territory. The sight hits a little too close to home, reminding him he was almost one of them. The road ahead is blocked, and it's not just a traffic jam. It's a full-blown military quarantine, and they're on the wrong side of it. His partner realizes the army wasn't trying to keep people in, they were trying to keep something out. But just as they're about to retreat, our hero spots something that changes the entire plan. Yeah, the road's not just blocked by cars, it's patrolled by a whole new brand of nightmare. And these things look like they skipped breakfast and are ready for a 5-course meal. While his driver is panicking, our guy is doing the math, and this roadblock just turned into a level-up opportunity. So he tells his driver to forget the main road and get ready for some extreme off-roading. It's a one-way ticket through a death trap, with no room for error and no chance to turn back. He's not asking if it's safe. He's asking if it's possible because he's driving straight into the monster's den. His driver sees a tight squeeze, but our hero sees the perfect shortcut. He tells his partner to forget turning back because he's just had a brilliant, terrible idea, and with a smile that's a little too wide, he points them directly into the heart of the monster nest. His partner thinks he's lost his mind, but our guy insists this isn't a detour, it's the only way forward. Because the welcoming committee is already waiting, and they look very, very hungry. The monsters charge, expecting an easy meal, completely unprepared for what's coming next. And just like that, their truck becomes a high-speed bowling ball, and the monsters are the pins. The driver is having a full-blown panic attack, trying to process the fact they just used a monster horde as a speed bump. But our hero just shrugs, confirming that yes, this was the plan all along. And then he casually asks about a video game, because for him, this isn't a death trap, it's just another level. He's not seeing a death trap, he's seeing his favorite tower defense map from a video game. And his partner is starting to realize our hero's plan is based entirely on video game logic. So he tells him to back it up, turning their truck into the perfect bait for his insane new strategy. And right on cue, the welcoming committee shows up, drooling and ready for dinner. He pulls up his system menu, ready to finally use an upgrade he's been saving for a rainy day. He's not just upgrading, he's going all in, telling his system to spend every last mana stone he's got. But he's not buying a weapon, he's upgrading his shipping speed to 100 kilometers an hour. With a portal glowing behind him, he basically invites the entire horde over for a snack. The monsters take the bait, charging headfirst into what they think is an easy meal. And that's when he introduces them to his new favorite weapon, a high-speed air-dropped refrigerator. He's not just clearing a path, he's weaponizing home appliances, and the monsters never saw it coming. And just like that, the system pays out, turning monster bashing into a profitable side hustle. He looks on like a proud parent, realizing he's just invented the world's most brutal delivery service. He could have used his axe, but he's already found a critical flaw in his own god-tier power. Turns out his precision delivery isn't a heat-seeking missile, it's just a really good guess. And against monsters this fast, a good guess is just a fancy way of saying miss. He realized his axe was too slow, too small. He was bringing a knife to a monster horde fight. But an axe can be dodged. A flying refrigerator, on the other hand, has a much bigger hitbox. It doesn't even need to be a direct hit. The sheer force is enough to send them flying. And with his new automatic shipping upgrade, he's turned this death trap into his own personal assembly line of destruction. He's not even watching the carnage anymore. He's just telling his AI to keep the appliance apocalypse going. The monsters are learning a valuable lesson. Never, ever get between a delivery guy and his route. And his partner is having a complete system meltdown, realizing the axe thrower has a whole new, much weirder arsenal. His brain tries to do the math, but infinite refrigerators isn't a number his apocalypse-addled mind can compute. He knows the axes get recalled, but he's pretty sure refrigerators don't have a return policy. And just as he's about to have a full-blown existential crisis, our hero casually offers him a snack from the murder truck. He can barely get the name out, but our guy just answers like he was asked for the time, not the secrets of the universe. And then he asks the one question that could break reality. Is your stock infinite? Our hero's response is a casual, "Oh, you didn't know?" and the driver's entire worldview shatters. He thought our guy was reloading his axes, but the truth is so much worse. He was just tidying up the battlefield so his friend wouldn't trip. And with a single word, our hero confirms the impossible. His personal warehouse has no bottom. So with monsters literally flying past their window, he opens up his personal post-apocalyptic 7-Eleven. The driver is hit with a wave of shame, realizing he doubted the man who just offered him a donut in a death trap. Our hero offers him the world from the back of his truck, but his new partner is just grateful to be alive. And just like that, the finish line is in sight. His family is just one bridge away from being saved. But even with his goal in sight, his first thought is for the hero who's making it all possible. Then he realizes you can't have a happy family reunion when you look like you just wrestled a garbage disposal. So our hero decides it's time for a wardrobe change because his magic truck is also a mobile department store. His partner can only laugh, realizing he's getting a full apocalypse makeover from a delivery guy. But then the driver gets a glint in his eye because he's not looking for a new shirt. He's looking for an upgrade. He's not just a driver anymore. He's got the look of a man who knows he's riding with a god. Our hero says most of their problems are solved, but he's looking at his partner like he's the last one. With a new outfit comes new confidence, and he's ready to put the pedal to the metal. And just like that, their murder truck becomes a monster-crushing battering ram. Our hero immediately regrets letting his new, over-caffeinated partner take the wheel, because their shortcut involves turning their 10-ton truck into a low-orbit satellite. He promises it'll only take 20 minutes, but his driver looks like he's not going to survive the first 5. They're not just driving through the city, they're literally flying over it. The new action hero is officially regretting his life choices, begging for the ride to stop. But our guy just looks back, completely deadpan, as if he's about to ask him if he wants another donut. The world's most chaotic road trip finally ends, but one look at his home tells him the real fight is just about to start.